Hi everyone, welcome to another knitting video, and not just any knitting video, no, a Christmas knitting video. Even though I'm filming this in September, and I'll tell you why in a minute, this is already getting me in the Christmas mood. It's never too early for Christmas, in my opinion. So the reason that I'm starting this in September is because it's going to take some time. And I want to make sure it's finished before the Christmas season. Now, you already know from the title and the thumbnail what we are doing in this video today. We are knitting a Christmas blanket. I'm so excited about this. So for the pattern, I found two patterns that I liked and then I kind of mixed and matched them. So I took some of the chart from each pattern and I arranged them in a way that would hopefully look really nice. So it's a combination of two patterns and I altered the size. I'm going to make mine much bigger than either of the two patterns. So I also had to adjust the stitch and row count a little bit to make it big enough. So I did some changing to the whole pattern and combining them. And the two patterns that I used are called Chiming Bells and Woodside. And both are by Jenny Watson from West Yorkshire Spinners. And I will make sure to link them in the description. Now, for yarn. I got a bunch of skeins of this Drops Nepal yarn in 3 shades. I have 3620 red, 1101 white, and an 8921 green. So classic Christmas colors. I mean, together they just scream Christmas to me, and I think it's just a lovely classic combination. Now I already started. I did the ribbing for the bottom edge in the green shade. It's just a really simple 2x2 rib. And then I did a decrease row to get to the right amount of stitches that I need for the main part of the blanket. So now we can start with the actual fun part, in my opinion, which is the color work. I'm going to start with the first chart. I have them printed out. And I also have everything written out. So the order of the charts and everything I need to do on this piece of paper. So I'm ready to go. Also, I don't need to worry about catching floats on the wrong side or making the wrong side look nice, because I will be adding a piece of fabric to the back, probably like a fleece or something really soft and fluffy. So that's great. Don't need to worry about the back, which is always a plus. And now I'm ready to start working these charts. So, plan of action. I need to switch to my bigger needles for this. So I've just put some interchangeable needles on a really long cable. Technically, I made one long cable out of 2 smaller ones. And we're going to work chart 1. This whole blanket is going to take a while. So yeah, this is going to be a process of a couple of months. But we are just going to enjoy the process and create a hopefully beautiful blanket. Well, I finished the first chart and it's looking great so far. Now I'm going to work on the second one. And for the second chart, which is this one, the trees are kind of far apart from each other. So I don't want to carry the yarn across the back. So I'm going to go with Intarsia. I made a bunch of mini skeins to make this work, because obviously I'm going to have to switch a lot. And it's going to be probably very annoying to work with. Now, I don't have those cards you can use to make kind of bobbins. I do have cardboard, so I could make some myself, but I don't feel like doing that. I'm probably going to regret that decision later. But first, I'm going to just try this, see if it works. It's probably going to be a mess, but I just really want to do Intarsia, because I know that if I'm going to carry the yarn across those long length, it's going to be pretty tight probably, and this will just make it look more clean. Also, it will use up less yarn, so that's also another plus. So yeah, I'm going to start on this chart. It's also a pretty long chart, so it's going to take some time. And yeah, wish me luck. So I finished this chart. I did at some point decide to skip the small trees on the second half because the yarn situation was not ideal and it was all getting tangled up. And I thought if I have less skeins, then hopefully it will be better. It was slightly, but at least we now have big trees and then one row of small little trees. But I think it looks great. I'm now going to continue with the next chart, which is going to be a little bit smaller, and I won't have to use the intarsia technique, so that's great. I don't think I will need that again, by the way. I think the rest is all going to be Fair Isle. But yeah, I think it's looking cute. Let's continue. So I worked a couple more charts and I've just finished this one. And I'm pretty sure at some point I said after the big tree panel that I didn't have to do intarsia anymore, but yeah, I was wrong. For these trees it was also better to use intarsia because there's a pretty big space between the colors, so I ended up working intarsia, as you can see here in the back, looking really nice, which was annoying. This time I did, however, help myself a little bit and decided to just make some butterfly bobbins instead of just making mini skeins and putting them in some cups and glasses on the floor, which I should have done the first time as well, but hey, it's fine. It was kind of annoying to work with because I had, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 green bobbins and then 11 white ones. So it was a little bit annoying, but I got it done. I also decided to skip a couple of parts of the charts, if that makes sense. Now on this first row it's mainly white with only these stitches in green, so I decided to just work it in white and use some duplicate stitches for this, so that's what I did. Then for the top 2 rows of the trees I also skipped the knitting in green part, so I worked all of it in white and then again used some duplicate stitches to finish the trees at the top here, and I think it's looking really nice. I'm now going to continue with the next couple of charts. I did plan on doing this chart again at some point. I don't remember. I think, yeah, I need to do 3 charts. No. I need to do 1 other chart now and then I was supposed to work this one again, but I don't think I will be doing that because it was really annoying. So I'm just going to probably make up another chart. But yeah, we will see. I have to think about that. First I need to work the next chart, which is this really big one. That's going to take some time, and then we are going to come up with a different chart to work instead of this one again. But yeah, it's looking great so far. I'm still on schedule, so this should be done before December, which is great. Let's keep going. The color work is done. I'll show you the whole thing later, it's looking so nice. I'm so happy with this. I did make some changes. So I left out a couple of charts actually, and I also replaced some charts with improvised stuff and other charts. Mainly because there were a couple more charts that needed intarsia and I didn't really feel like doing that. So I took the lazy route and just changed it a little bit. But it's totally fine. I think it actually looks really nice right now and it's definitely long enough. So I don't really need the charts that I left out. So yeah, here we are. What I now need to do is all the ribbing, or almost all the ribbing, because we already did the ribbing here at the bottom edge. I'm now going to switch to my smaller needles and to green, and I'm going to do an increase row first and then work a simple 2x2 rib for the top edge, and then I need to pick up stitches along the sides to work again a 2x2 ribbing in green, and that's going to be interesting because it's pretty long. It's longer than me, so I will have to probably connect a couple of cables together to make that work. But yeah, it's going great. Color work's done. Now it's time for ribbing, and once that is done I can sew the fabric to the back, and then I have a fully finished Christmas blanket before Christmas. Okay, very exciting update. The knitting is done. I finished all the ribbing on all the sides. I also, I want to say finished, but I did some things to the wrong side. I reinforced every single knot because I want to make sure it doesn't fall apart. And then I kind of trimmed the yarn ends, which I don't need to worry too much about it because it's going to be covered by fabric, but I just wanted to kind of make it all nice and tidy. Now I need to block this thing, or at least I really, really want to, just to kind of make the color work settle and make it look really nice and smooth. However, I don't have the space to wet block it because it's pretty big. I ended up making it smaller than I had planned to make it, but it's still gigantic. So I am standing at my ironing board now and I'm just going to steam block it and hope for the best. And once that is done, we can attach the fabric. Speaking of the fabric, this is the fabric I have. These are actually old sheets. I was going through my scrap fabric pile, or one of them, and the pile I was going through was a pile specifically for mock-ups. And in there I mainly have old sheets because I really like using those for mock-ups. And then I came across this and I forgot I had this, but I knew I had to choose this. It's a brushed cotton, so it's very, very soft. It has a Christmassy design and I don't know what else I would ever use it for. I don't really want to use this as a mock-up fabric because it's kind of too nice for it. And I also feel like brushed cotton doesn't really make sense for a mock-up. So it's perfect to use as the backing fabric for this blanket. Now, plan of action is to first steam block the blanket. Then I need to measure out exactly how big of a piece I need to cut out of this. Kind of see where I want the placement to be as well, because these sheets have a couple of different designs all over it. So I need to figure out which section I want to use. Then I'm going to prep the fabric by finishing the edges. I'm just going to fold the edge over twice and sew that down on the machine really quickly. And then I can attach the fabric to the blanket, and I'm just going to sew that on by hand just because I want it to look really nice and as invisible as possible from the outside. I think that's everything I wanted to say in this update. I'm going to steam block, I'm going to sew, I'm going to attach, and then we can see what the finished blanket looks like. And it's done. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I think it's exactly what I wanted it to be, and I cannot wait to be snuggled up underneath this little blanket
all throughout the Christmas month and, well, Christmas months, because in my house Christmas starts the beginning of November and ends at the end of January. But yeah, it's just so nice. It's the perfect size for me. Obviously, I made it so that it would be. So didn't really expect anything else. I'm really happy with how the back turned out as well, with the fabric, the old sheets that I repurposed. I just love it. And I'm just so proud of this. And it's been a long process. I actually went through some of the footage, and it's funny to see how I started in the summertime and then went through autumn, Halloween, and now we're at Christmas. So it's been a couple of months, but it's definitely been worth it. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. Like I've probably already said a million times, but I really am. I mean it. So I don't think I have anything else to say. I will link the 2 patterns that this is based on below, so you can check it out. Anyway, let's just end this here before I say that I like it 10 more times. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a great Christmas season if you're celebrating. Feel free to subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.